Prison breaks seem like something that only happens in the movies. Who'd be sly enough to actually break out of prison? Well, you'd be surprised just how many people make it out of prison every year, and some of them are even crazy enough to do it while being filmed. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 prison breaks you won't believe actually happened. Those helicopter prison escapes we see in the movies always seem pretty dramatic and unrealistic, but these inmates made it a reality. A surveillance camera captured a prison break from a Quebec prison. A helicopter came to the lawn of the Saint Jerome Detention Center near Montreal. The pilot let down a rope that inmates Benjamin Houdon Barbeau and Danny Provencal managed to grab after struggling for a while. You might be wondering where exactly the prison guards were at this point. Well, they actually did see them, but they were way too far away from the escapees to get near them. Later, the two inmates along with the pilot landed at a spot where a getaway car was waiting for them. Apparently, the helicopter actually had two other people already in it with the pilot, Billy Bondoin and Stephen Matthew Marchisio. They had hired the helicopter beforehand, but then held the pilot at gunpoint and forced them to go to the prison. Fortunately, the pilot wasn't harmed and the four men were arrested just a few hours after they had escaped. In this next story, 30-year-old Amber Gonzalez was arrested for misdemeanor theft and possession of drugs and was placed in a holding cell at the Waukesha Police Department. She told the police that she needed to call someone to bail her out, and they decided to leave her be, thinking she couldn't escape since she was handcuffed to the wall. But you can never be too sure. While she was using her phone, she continuously tugged at her handcuffs. After she pulled at her hand for a few minutes, she actually managed to squeeze it out entirely. Then she just left the holding area and escaped the police station. According to the police, the handcuffs were at the tightest possible setting, so no one would have ever thought that she would slip out of them so easily. But Gonzalez was very thin and around 97 pounds, which might have helped her escape. Fortunately, she was found under an hour after she escaped, but was also later bailed out. Usually, when inmates try to escape the prison, they try to do it as quietly as possible, but these next guys did the complete opposite. Back in January of 2016, 3 inmates from the Orange County Men's Jail in California managed to escape from the jail by climbing out from the plumbing pipes. After that, they stole a utility van and a taxi cab. The cab actually still had the driver inside, who the inmates decided to keep as a hostage. During this entire escape, they were documenting their entire escape through a smartphone they'd smuggled in. They drove to San Jose from Los Angeles, and they were basically free at this point. But one of the inmates decided to turn himself in and went back to the Orange County Men's Central Jail with the hostage driver. Because of this, the other 2 inmates, Hossein Naeri and Jonathan Tew, were found and arrested in San Francisco a few days later. In this next one, 34-year-old Derek Estelle made national headlines after he made a very risky but successful jailbreak. In July of 2013, Estelle was just having his routine call, but what might have seemed like a regular call was actually Estelle and his mother planning how he would escape jail. On the day of his planned escape, Estelle managed to get another person to distract the jail deputies. This gave him just enough time to jump through a 1-foot by 2.5-foot window, which led straight to the jail's waiting room. His girlfriend was already waiting for him with a getaway car, and they both got away. Right before he jumped out, his mother was actually the one who told him to make a run for it, and said, "It's all good." Estelle was later found and arrested just a few hours after he escaped. Along with Estelle, his mother and the accomplice that created the diversion were also arrested. In another story dating back to August of 1995, 12 prisoners managed to escape a Copenhagen prison after a bulldozer broke through the prison wall. The bulldozer made a huge 26-foot hole, which made a separation between the prison yard and the main road. Surprisingly enough, no one was injured from the initial attack. While 12 prisoners made a run for it, 3 of them were caught almost immediately after they escaped. According to the police, the prisoners knew the bulldozer was going to break through and had already planned to escape to see a football match nearby. In this one, Udita Punchihewa was handcuffed to a handrail inside a toilet at the Hutt Hospital. The inmate managed to take off his handcuffs along with the GPS tracker on his ankle and just ran straight out the main door of the building. When he ran outside, he actually came face to face with the officers that were supposed to watch him, and one of them yelled, "How did you get out of there?" They grabbed him, but Punchihewa managed to push them off of him and ran away just wearing the hospital gown. After that, Punchihewa had disappeared for more than 3 months, but was found and arrested. According to Punchihewa, he thought the hospital was going to harvest his organs and sell them, which is why he decided to escape in the first place. This next teenager from Wisconsin was arrested for sexual assault and was being held in an interview room. The moment the interviewer left the room, the teenager started pacing all over the room until he saw an open window. He decided to jump out of the window headfirst and escape. The building was on the second floor, so no one was expecting him to jump out. Even though he jumped a good 13 to 16 feet, he wasn't hurt at all. He was seen running for his life from the surveillance camera. The interrogator came back to the room almost 14 minutes later, but by the time he realized that the teenager was gone, it was already too late. Fortunately, he was found at a friend's house and was arrested again. Usually when prisoners escape from prison, they devise a plan over the course of a few weeks at the very least. But this next prisoner made a split-second decision and just ran. The video shows the police transferring a prisoner, then parking their car next to another police car. Apparently, the officers were asking the prison staff to help them transfer the inmate. But while the officers were busy looking for someone to help them, the prisoner jumped out of the car and ran away. Not only that, but he even closed the garage door. The door took forever to open back up, and the prisoner had already gotten away by then. He was found a few hours later and was kept a close eye on the second time. 25-year-old Rustam Shakrutinov made one of the most shocking escapes of all time by jumping out of the food slot at his prison. The food slot was an extremely small window that no one thought a prisoner would be able to fit through. While no guard was in the hallway, Rustam decided to squeeze through the tiny window by taking off all of his clothes. It took a pretty long time since the opening was so small. After he got out, he simply put his clothes back on and left. 42-year-old Jessica Boomershine decided to pull out a chair and tried to escape the prison by climbing through the ceiling. She removed the ceiling tiles one by one in hopes of somehow escaping. Her other inmates can be seen cheering her on, but at the same time, look like they have no faith in her. At one point, the debris started falling from the ceiling, but so did Jessica herself. After that, the officers kept her in handcuffs so she wouldn't try getting out again. Alright, comment down below which of these prison breaks shocked you the most. Before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to Trend Joint for more. See you around!